the Olympic Games!
Remember when we used to wonder who would win in a fight between Mario and Sonic? Well, it's a good thing Brawl came out because this was never going to answer that question. Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games is exactly what you think it is. Mini-styled Olympic Games with the Mario and Sonic characters plastered all over it. Still, there is some good stuff to like about this. For one thing, there are a lot and lots of minigames. Okay, maybe not that much. There's about 24 different styled minigames based off of the Olympic Games. Also, the character selection. One thing that had me worried was the character selection screen. I was worried that they were going to model it after the Mario Party series where everybody was all the same. Fortunately, all the characters keep their own abilities and traits that they're normally known for. For example, Sonic is all around fast. Mario is not that much. And for those people who are complaining that this game sucks just because of the idea that Mario can outrun Sonic, well, guess what?
Get set.
You're right. Mario can't outrun Sonic. In fact, the only way that anyone can beat Sonic in this game is that they just plain flat out suck with the controls. Me, I'm somewhat terrible. First, let's go over the controls. And the first one is the controls that begin at the beginnings that help you start the game off. Most of them start off with little mini-games that help you improve your skills, such as clapping, or this one where you're aiming at the center cursor and hitting the mark can increase your range of your target. It can increase your target range. Of course, if you were to blow one of these, you would actually hinder your performances quite a bit. The controls in this game work very well, and even though there are a ton of them to memorize, they usually do pop up in little screens, and they usually do give you indication of when to use them and what time. So the controls aren't exactly a problem. In fact, many of the games are actually fun to play using these different styles of controls.
Alright.
And fortunately, all the characters, well, yeah, all the characters are actually used in good specific places. Trampoline technique, or the trampoline jumping, is actually good for technique people. Why? Well, because they have to use a shorter variety of buttons, whereas someone else would have to use a lot of button commands. The multiplayer mode is the best part of this game, as you and 3 other people can get worn out at the same time. Seriously, this game will take your arms off and beat you to death with them. It can be very painful sometimes if you don't watch how many times you're actually playing it. Now normally you would think the controls for this would have been somewhat simplified. Well, they are mostly enhanced. For example, the shooting range gallery, like this one, requires you to push on both A and B, and then you hear the little clicking in the remote sound. Pull it back, you hear even more sound, and you have to aim with the remote and the nunchuck in order to get a perfect score. Or a good score anyway. Now, the controls do work very well, as long as you know what you're doing. And it shouldn't be that hard since they actually tell you. A few disappointments about this game is that, in terms of a crossover, it's actually very, well, it kind of sucks. I mean, sure, the Dream modes are the best place to actually get a crossover feel for these characters, because, let's face it, who doesn't want to throw a Koopa shell at Sonic, and who doesn't want to use Mario to use Chaos Control to get to the finish line? But sadly, there are only 4 areas where you can actually do this. And though not all the characters actually bring out their full personalities. In fact, if you were to just take this away and put in all the normal stuff, it's not that exciting. Yes, the controls work very well, and it is somewhat of a decent multiplayer game, but unfortunately, when we wanted to see Mario and Sonic actually interact with each other, this is not the game to do it with. I mean, listen to this.
Medal awarded. These are only games. Medal awarded. It's all about speed.
Did any of those characters actually sound like they were talking to each other? Also, this game can be very tiring, and it will give you a message of when to take a break, which is good advice. And the controls, there are a lot of them to memorize. But fortunately, they do pop up in the bubble screen, so if you need help to know what you're doing, you can always go back. Now, as for a single player mode, it's very shallow, and it's not much to go back for. You have your mission mode, which adds an extra replayability, but some of them, well, a lot of them aren't that fun, seeing as the missions are too specific. And don't be fooled by the Wi-Fi label on the box. It's only for an online ranking score, which is a terrible, terrible idea. I thought the Olympics were supposed to bring people together. So why isn't bring people from different countries together? So why is it that we're only getting an online ranking mode? In terms of a crossover, like I said before, it's a very poor excuse. And this is truly the only interaction you get between the characters. Hopefully next time we'll see more interaction. But until then, it's a 3 out of 5. Try it before you buy it.